How to use ChatGPT for coding. We'll be showing my process, workflow, and steps, and how to prompt ChatGPT to write complicated code. I'll be using ChatGPT directly on the web version via the chat client. This is 100% free, but it means direct interaction with the chat client and manually copying and pasting code. A more productive and faster way of writing code using ChatGPT is to install a plugin or extension into an IDE such as Visual Studio Code. To do this, you typically need API access with a monthly subscription fee. This is across the board for all AI services, all other competitors to ChatGPT. There is no free ChatGPT VSCODE extension without an API key. Basically impossible to bypass the subscription, which is fair. So I'm going to get ChatGPT to generate this relatively simple C# code, which basically calculates a percentage change between two numbers. But instead of just returning the percentage value, the calculator returns a wrapper class which has all possible formats of a difference between two numbers. This wrapper class holds the delta, percentage as a number, as a string, and as a fraction. How to use ChatGPT for coding might not be exactly the same if you're doing front-end code such as HTML and single-page applications. This example is more of a back-end C# code. My workflow for using AI, in short, write most of your prompts outside of the chat client and instead place very detailed instructions in Pseudo Code. The whole objective is to save time and be more productive. It's a big fail if you find yourself correcting AI-generated code and having to rename methods and variables. The most important thing is to have extensive unit tests before creating any ChatGPT code generation prompt. These tests must be written by a human who has a high-level understanding of the complete system. Effectively, these human-written tests are a specification or standard which the AI-generated code must at the very least pass. A big mistake would be to get AI to write both code and tests, and definitely not the test. Avoid using ChatGPT unit test. The developer should create pseudocode to help ChatGPT have a more concrete context in the form of method signatures, class definitions, and comments. Developer must be using coding best practices, even in creating the stub methods and classes. Methods should be small, focused on one task. Class must also have a single responsibility. Pretty much all of the best practices have to be applied and must not be left to AI to take a wild guess. Basically, these detailed practices are impossible to communicate via the chat client and must be done somehow represented in the pseudocode. Once the pseudocode and tests are completed, creating ChatGPT code generation prompts is the most time-consuming part, and this should be done in the file where you want the AI to complete the code, assuming there is no sensitive information in the file or class. So prompting is just a matter of adding as much instructions to the pseudocode as possible, typically for the file that needs code completion. You're done with the file now. You can simply just send this file to the web chat client and have the code be generated. ChatGPT writing code is actually very good. This is just a matter of running the generated code against the human tests. Hopefully the tests should pass, and you might need to refactor the code as it might not be the most efficient. If the code is wrong and you are losing time correcting the AI, then simply write it yourself. Writing code using ChatGPT should be a productivity boost. How to use ChatGPT for coding. In summary, my simple steps are: number 1, create pseudocode which incorporates best software practices. Secondly, create comprehensive unit tests written by a human who understands the high-level system. Thirdly, write code prompts for ChatGPT in the pseudocode. Upload the file, then run tests against AI code and decide on what to do based on the results.